Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and for today's episode, with today's guest and the fantastic conversation before you, if you're looking for a good quality conversation, well, this is the place you want to be. Today's guest is Luca Debus, a cartoonist and illustrator whose passionate, lifelong romance with cartoons has led to several sensational comics, including the ongoing slice-of-life strip, Wannabe. I was recommended this guest by a very important guest of the podcast, as you'll see soon enough. And honestly, even without the recommendation, I am so glad I got a chance to look at Luca's stuff, and especially with the conversation you had before you're gonna, I can guarantee you all is going to be a fun conversation with a lot of fun moments, a lot of sass, but also a lot of sincere moments at the end of the day that I know you guys are going to love. If you enjoy our guest, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know I see that stuff, and you know it genuinely warms my heart. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out our merch shop on fourthwall.com. Check out that link in the description below to see some amazing merch as designed by some amazing guests that have been on this podcast. And for now, throughout the holidays, if you use code HOLLYJOLLY at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Thank you for taking time to do this, by the way. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for calling me in. This is so nice. I'm very excited.
No, absolutely. You need to I will go ahead and tell you right now, you need to go ahead and partially thank Dee for it, because Dee was the one that introduced me to your stuff in the first place.
Everything. Dee initiates everything in my life, so it's normal.
I mean, I get to. Dee was the one that introduced me to your stuff, but I mean, look, you deserve to be on this podcast more than anything else, seeing the incredible stuff you've been able to do. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You're so sweet. Yeah, but when I got an invitation, it was like, Dee, is this a friend of yours?
What?
I was sure is.
What, you mean Super D, the guy that was both the first guest and also the guest that was on episode 201 on this podcast? He might be a friend. D is really cool, though. I there's no denying
it's
that.
Great.
Like I said, the fact that he was the first guest I brought on this podcast, he's part of the reason why this is here where we're at right now, which I think when this episode comes out would be like episode 242, 243 or something like that. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for that. Yeah, no, Dee is really great. He also, the fact that he's really committed to support people and support artists and cartoonists, he's really creating a community. He's very great about that. No, he's fantastic.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Trust me, that's why I still root for the guy. Anytime he gets to do any incredible stuff to this day, I'm always going to have that guy's back.
Well, yeah. So let's have him.
But enough about Dee. I'm sure we could probably mooch a little bit more when we actually get to the recording of the podcast. Right now, we're here for you. This is your episode.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go ahead and ask this. I didn't realize this until I was doing my research and whatnot. Are you based out in Germany right now?
So not anymore. So
okay.
I was living in Germany. I think was it 2 months ago. Yeah, I just moved.
Okay.
From Germany to Italy.
Oh, Italy.
Yeah. So now I'm in Italy.
Regardless, you're over in Europe, which is what I didn't anticipate when I was planning out times and such.
Hence the darkness.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's extremely valid. More than anything else, it wouldn't be the first time I've had to interview international guests. I've had a good couple people that are based out in the UK. I had one not too long ago that was based out in Australia. I just didn't know that whenever I was booking the time for you. You said you were moving. I'm seeing you're on the East Coast. I'm who knows? Maybe he's moved up north. Closer to New England or Boston or whatnot. No, you're over in Italy now.
No. Yeah, exactly. I'm over there.
Yeah. Across the pond or wherever they say.
Yeah, how they say that. Yeah.
Regardless, once again, even with that additional circumstance, thank you for even making the time to do this in the first place. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Luca, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to
Ready.
a deserted island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations. I shouldn't say deserted, more like a little personal B&B paradise away from society with all the amenities. Um,
Yeah, got it. I was growing a little anxious, to be honest. I was
that
like, how do I get water?
that's
No,
why
but it's fine.
that's why I want to
Okay,
make sure I clarify that more than anything else.
cool. Cool, 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 cool.
But to make sure you don't go completely insane on this island by yourself, you get to bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this little personal paradise. If given this opportunity, what will that one piece be?
Oh, gosh. Oh, this is a very beautiful question, very philosophical.
Thank you, thank you.
Wow. Yeah, I really have to think. I'm not good with favorites,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm the kind of person who just collects everything and loves everything in the same
That no no
same way, the same amount of love for everything.
that's valid. That is a
Um,
mood.
yeah, I'm really thinking. Um, uh, oh, I mean, it has to be comics, so
Okay.
some sort of comic. And uh, this is really really tough. Yeah, something to read, so like a book form. Yeah, it must be a comic. I don't know. Like it seems so stupid to say like a collection of peanuts by
Okay.
Schulz, but maybe that's what's gonna be. Probably the 70s, a book from the 70s,
Okay.
like the
Okay.
collection of the years ago. Yeah, I think that's. I'd say that. I'm not completely convinced with this answer. Maybe if during this conversation something else comes up to mind, I will change my answer.
I mean, regardless, even then, like picking like specifically like that era more than anything else, like there is a lot of
Yeah.
golden, incredible like comics, especially in that era. Why is that like at least the one that for now is the one you're thinking that you want to bring with you? Why is that your choice for now, at least?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough spot. I think the humor is very good, I think, during those years. And that's also when the drawings, according to my preference, are at their best.
Right.
So I like the pen, like the ink and everything, like the work, and I like the humor. And I don't know, there's something nostalgic as well. I think like my first big Peanuts collection was a book from the 70s,
Okay.
so probably there's a nostalgia factor too.
Hey,
Yeah.
nostalgia, especially these days, can carry you a long way more than anything else.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially on the Desert Highland. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. But regardless, at least for now, the 1970s collection of Peanuts. That is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yes, let's do it.
Then if that's the
The-
then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome everyone. I am your host Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You will look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a cartoonist and illustrator whose passionate, lifelong romance with cartoons has led to several sensational comics, including the ongoing slice of life strip, Wannabe. Welcome to the podcast, Luca Debus.
Woo! Thank you so much. What a beautiful
And
introduction. Wow.
I tried to make sure that I let my audience know just how high of praise they should be giving my guests, and I think that that introduction is a good way of letting people know, hey, you've done some incredible stuff.
Oh, wow, that was very beautiful. Thank you. I think I should, play the recording every morning I wake up. This is my alarm now, probably.
Well, whenever the episode
That's
comes
like
out, you can have that video of
raised from
like
the dead.
I say whenever you wake up in the
Yes.
whenever this episode does come out or whatnot. I promise you, I'll be more than happy to send you that episode so that you can have it saved. Get like an alarm going with that, and you wake up and you can be like, I can conquer anything.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the views on that episode will be insane just for me alone.
Look, I'll take the views more than anything else.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
how you doing today, Luca?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me
Oh,
here.
thank you
It's
so.
very nice.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you more than anything else for taking the time to be here. Like we kind of illustrated in our little pre-chat before the actual conversation. Wonderful former guest of the podcast, Super D Parsons, introduced me to your stuff in the first place. But like ever since I first saw that, and I will say that was like months ago when he introduced me to your stuff. I have been just enamored and loving what you've been able to present in one form or fashion, whether it be the strips you've been able to do in the past or the like I said, the current ongoing one that you have, Wannabe, which I cannot wait to delve into that and talk about how much I love that strip more than anything else.
Oh my
But
God.
before we talk about the stuff you are doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Luca. What got you interested in art and comics and such in the first place?
Anxiety.
good, good start. Good start.
Start. Short answer. Anxiety. Yeah. But it is true that like I was a very anxious child growing up. And my literal, security blanket were comics.
Okay.
So whenever I would feel anxious and I had like this existential dread, looming over me, I would crack open a comic book and I would start reading. So to immerse myself in the world and forget about whatever I was experiencing and living in that moment. And my favorite comic at that time to do that was Peanuts because it was talking about anxieties
Right.
and about kids with problems like me. And so that's how I would do that. I was able to laugh, and the characters there too are able to laugh at their own anxiety. So it really helped me out dealing with my problems. And because of that, even like since a very, very young age, I like when they ask you the typical question, what do you want to do and be as an adult? We always say a cartoonist because I wanted to be to other people what Schulz was to me. So like this safe space um, to help dealing with life. And so that's why I got into comics, and that's why I try to make comics today.
I mean, honestly, that's like I love the short answer, just anxiety, because I feel like that drives a lot of people to
Yeah.
do certain things in the first place. But even then, like seeing how the comics themselves and how they depicted anxiety, even though that wasn't like the hot button topic of the day or whatnot when it was first starting out or whatnot, like the fact that that was just a common thing that people talked about in or was just a common thing in those comics or whatnot made it like a lot more relatable than like some of the comics at the times. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm sure we all would love, Asterix and Olaberg or whatnot, like, the cool adventures that they have or whatnot. But like the way that Peanuts was so relatable, having anxiety for kids more than anything else, like
Yeah.
it was really great. And I can see how, especially as you were talking, how you even related to that. And I can only imagine for you, like how much of a connection and how near and dear like those comics probably still are to this day more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, so we were talking about nostalgia before, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
also plays a big role. So every time there's something wrong, I know I can always resource to that,
Yep.
and maybe now it's just a placebo effect. It helps, and it shapes who you are as well. It's something that you cater to so much during your growing up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When did it for you go from, again, something that you loved and admired and related to with like Peanuts and I imagine other strips, to a passion and wanting to make it like your career? Like, when did that switch like click in your head of being like, oh, this is something I could do for a living?
Well, that switch happened too early on, probably. Like I was literally, I don't know, I was probably 3 years old. I don't know. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
wanted to be and do that. I didn't even know if it was an actual job, but I assumed it was because these people were doing it,
Right.
and so I always wanted to do it, and all my life has been like step by step trying to get to that point. So it's really like I'm an obsessed person and with a huge problem, I guess, which is trying to become a cartoonist.
I mean,
and anxiety as well. So two big
yeah,
problems.
I mean, I think they kind of go hand in hand together more than anything else.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I love that for you, like cartoonist was like how some kids, say that they want to be, the president, they want to be an astronaut one day. And like, there are some that like they lose faith that like they get more realistic idealized jobs as they get a little bit older, but some of them like stick with that until they become like the astronaut that goes to the moon or in space station, or they become the leader of like a group or something like that. Like I appreciate that, like for you, that love for cartoons, I guess, more than anything, or love for comics more than anything else, like really drove you to go for it, like throughout your life and even to this day. What is it about comics in general that just like brought you to it and wanted and made you want to stay in that realm in one form or fashion?
Ooh, yes. Well, I think it's just the nature of the medium in general, I would say. Like this combination of written language and visual language that creates a very powerful communication that can really reach to so many people and so efficiently as well, right? So I think that's probably the main drive. So there's very powerful communication. I am not a great communicator per se, so I think that this allure, right, of this powerful communication, it really speaks to me, and I think that's about that, to be honest. Yes.
I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
like that's a extremely valid point. I mean, even then, look, talking about the one that you held near and dear to you, like Peanuts. Charles Schulz being able to translate, you know, thoughts of anxiety or like just growing up and all that kind of stuff into a medium that thousands, millions of people were able to look at and relate to the point to where like those strips, you can attest this as well, they still endure to this day and people still love them and hold them near to dear like it's nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just this very powerful way to tell people and to inspire people and have people relate to your work and yourself. And like, I think that art is wait, I think that art is this it's like a language. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's a language, and the artist is someone who can create a new language that can be understood by people, because it's not a language spoken with, words, but it's a language spoken with emotions and uh things that universal things that everybody um has.
No, absolutely.
And yeah.
I,
Hmm.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, for me personally, I've always said, that for me, art is always a way for a person to basically translate their emotions and like communicate and like see, even I'm finding it hard to find the words in this moment, but
Yeah,
but
right.
but like art has always been a way for someone to express themselves. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Like express their words and express their thoughts that they might not be able to express otherwise. That's why I've always been a person that loves seeing the different range of art that people have been able to use in one form or fashion.
Hmm.
Like for you, it's comic strips. For someone else, it could be music, or it could be animation, or it could be physical action like theater or wrestling or something along the lines of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's this expression, and this expression that this need to express yourself, that it's that also um what's the word? So, but it also it's the same need that everybody has, let's
Yes.
say, but like the artist has the capacity and the skill to express these things through art, and so everybody can then um, live into the expression that was created for them as well, right? So I think that's
Absolutely.
the beauty of art.
No,
Hmm.
absolutely. And for you, the best way for you to be able to express yourself again is through comic strips and such. So
Yeah.
I'm curious. Obviously, like that love and desire and passion to be in it was there from a young age. When did you first start getting like the real first opportunities and first tastes getting into the field? Like when did you finally get the opportunity to say, "Hey, I work with comics. I work with cartoons."
Well, I'm still waiting for that. But
Mood.
it feels like that a little bit. When I struggle with that a lot. This is a therapy session right now, okay? So
Okay.
I think that
That's
later on.
what-
I think it's
mhm.
of course I am doing this as a job, but I struggle to call that a job when maybe economically and financially doesn't really
Yeah.
bring you much, right? What's the definition of a job? Is something that you do something, you get money in return. So I do not have that relationship with comics necessarily.
Okay. Fair enough.
um
Fair enough.
and so, there's that, and I struggle with the self-worth of it all, right? So like, I struggle with detaching my self-worth with what's commonly accepted as success, right? So like, ooh, making a lot of money is successful, right? So like,
Right.
I struggle with, for my own mental health to detach this success idea, common success idea, with what means success to me, which is the loser kind.
Awesome.
um,
Valid.
but, yeah, but the first opportunity, I think the very first opportunity, like in the job realm, I think it would be this comic strip adaptation I made of a play by Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest.
Right.
This was I was asked to do this. I was asked to adapt a piece of literature into comics,
Okay.
and that's what I chose, and I chose to do it into comic strips, and that's the very first opportunity I got.
Yeah, I saw that on your portfolio, which my first thought is it's interesting that that was like one of the first opportunities that you got, like translating that tale into comic form. Like obviously you were asked to do it, but why was the importance of being earnest the one that you chose and the one that you decide to adapt into comic form?
Yeah. So I studied a lot of literature.
Okay.
So my path, again, my idea was to become a cartoonist, always been. But at the same time, I'm, a sensible person who knows that maybe it's not easy to become a cartoonist. So I decided to follow another very secure career path, which is studying literature.
Okay.
This is sarcasm, of course. And so I did both together, right? So like I studied comics and I studied literature at the university, and I did my bachelor first and then my master's in Germany. And during these studies, I studied, foreign literature, foreign for me because I'm Italian.
Right.
And I studied Oscar Wilde, which is English literature, so
Right.
not foreign technically. Um, and I like Oscar Wilde a lot as an author. I read a lot of, biographies about him. I read more or less everything he ever wrote, and my decision fell naturally to choose something written by Oscar Wilde. And also I think that because I'm obsessed with the comic strips and I wanted to do something with comic strips,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the importance of being earnest could be translated very well into comic strips, so that's why I did that.
I mean, Oscar Wilde in the first place was a very like bold choice more than anything else. Like, given how incredible of an author that he can be and how like unique of a world he can paint, even in realism in one form or fashion. But especially with that novel, making that into a comic, like I can only imagine for you, like how much of a fun but also challenging process it was to translate words into comic form.
Yeah, no, that was fun. That was fun also because it was my first.
Right.
um I think, it was for sure an interesting process. Also because there's not many, books that got adapted into comic strips.
Right.
Of course, there's a lot of pieces of literature translated into comics in general, but comic strips not so much,
Mm-hmm.
if not none, to be honest. So I didn't have much of an example, right? But and the problem, let's call it a problem right now with comic strips, is that again, because I study literature, I always say that comic strips are the poetry, the lyric of comics, because the author needs to have a very heavy voice
Yes.
in what is portrayed in a comic strip. So, like a graphic novel, of course, is also very personal. A comic book as well, like a classic superhero comic book. But I think in a comic strip, because it's so small, it has to be repeated every day, technically. Like there's so much of the author going into what's happening. So it's very close to poetry, I think. And so because of that, I find myself in this position where, of course, I have to adapt Oscar Wilde, but I have to put my own voice into this as well to make a comic strip that works. Okay, so so you have to balance Oscar Wilde and myself. Of course, Oscar Wilde is in a completely different level than me, so I need like to, introduce myself
Right.
in not too much of an intrusive way. And of course, in a play that is so much known, so of course, if I, change something, or if I, put something new into it, it will be seen pretty fast.
Yes.
So finding that balance, it was funny, but also, so in order to do that, I think, like, especially with the importance of being earnest, I tried to do it mainly um, with the visuals. So like I put a lot of kooky and funny visuals rather than really changing the text so much. Of course, I had to change it because, Oscar Wilde is a very verbose author, and in comic strips, there's not much space for words. So I had to snip
Right.
a lot of text, and of course, sometimes you need a punchline when there's no punchline in the text. So I had to add something, but it's so full of jokes anyway. The importance of being earnest, so it wasn't really a problem. But I guess I put myself more into the visuals and trying to add a visual humor to the verbal humor that is already in play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And honestly, like that even makes sense because even if you look at it like past the comic level, like how most people obviously would adapt the importance of being earnest in like a play form. Like obviously, like the literature and like the delivery and stuff that's already like baked in. That's Oscar Wilde's voice being on full blast more than anything else. But like how the performer like interprets it, how they perform it, how the stage direction is or whatnot. That's the same of you adding like visual aspects or changing certain visuals of it more than anything else. Like if nothing else, like your adaptation in comic strip form is as true of an adaptation as anyone else's adaptation of the importance of being earnest. So,
Yeah, no, I agree. That's also was a very interesting process because the importance of being earnest, being a play that is performed in the theaters, like you can say in a way that my comic strip rendition is a stage production in a way of the importance of being earnest on paper, So I did the casting. I casted my characters. I created them, how they look, and etc. I created the staging, how the plays look and how they should move. So I directed them. So it's literally like a stage production on paper. So I thought it was a very funny concept to
I mean,
to make.
it looked like a really interesting concept more than anything else. And for me personally, I need to get my hands on that on the book so I can see how the interpretation
Oh, I
was.
can send you a copy. Do not worry
Oh,
about that.
you're too sweet. I mean, regardless, like I thought it was a really cool and interesting like process being able to like translate that, and I can see, especially like for starting out, that would be a good challenge to kind of get you on the path of like the mindset of how to be involved in comic strips and cartoons in the first place. I imagine another one is helping out with a comic strip that I noticed, but I couldn't really. Oh, I saw some of it or whatnot. Can you tell me about the strip that you had a handed called Vengoanchio?
Vengoanchio, yes.
Anchio, my bad. I was so close.
Yeah. No, no. It's so close, but there's a sneaky H there
Yeah.
that in Italian you pronounce it differently. Yes, that was a project. So while I was studying literature, I was also attending an art school specialized in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And because two of my teachers there created this project that's called vengoanchio, which is more of a comic book approach. It was like a web comic, but about superheroes, and it's very funny, and um, like it was a fun project to work on for these teachers, and they involved a lot of students as well of from the school.
Okay.
And I was known for my obsession about comic strips, which was unusual
Okay.
in my class, but also unusual overall, I guess, in the school. So there's people who care more about comic books and graphic novels. There's very few people caring about comic strips. And so because of that, people remembered me, and these teachers, I wasn't annoying at all. And so these
No.
teachers,
You annoying.
no,
I couldn't
no, no,
imagine it.
no, no. And so these teachers asked me to make a comic strip spin-off of the main series
Right.
with the characters as children. And so this is how this vengoanchio kindergarten was born. So
Right.
like kindergarten is a spin-off comic strip of the main series. And yeah, and so that was a fantastic platform for me to try things out and to get to know, of course you can love comic strips and can make comic strips in your own home. And I did a lot of comic strips that would never see the light of day. But it's nice, thank God, but it's nice to have this commitment, and every week I need to make a comic strip that will be published. And I kept this going for, I don't know, actually, years, probably, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years,
Oh
something like that.
wow.
Um, and it's a nice exercise, of course, right? Because you don't get to do things without being forced to do them. Um, so I was forced to do them, and I did it. And so I learned a lot through this process, for sure. I am proud of some of the comic strips I made. I am not proud of some, but I think it's normal, right? It's
Oh
a
yeah.
process, and yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm really glad I got the chance to do that. So I have to thank these two teachers. And that's shout out time. So Francesco Matteuzzi and Luca Maddocco they gave me this chance to work on comic strips.
No, absolutely. I mean, first off, I want to say I relate to you when it comes to. There's some things that I'm glad saw the light of day, and there's some things that I'm glad don't. Look, as someone that went to film school and such, and has made several like student films in one form or fashion, there are some films that
Oh yeah.
there are some films that I would be more than happy to show people and be like, yes, I had a hand in this. It's not perfect, but it's the thing that I love. And then there are others that I'm like,
Yeah.
God, why did I make that in the first place?
It's like, why did I do that to me and to the world?
And then I sit back and I realize, oh wait, that was for an assignment. That's why I had to make it. Okay, gotcha. Anyway,
Yeah.
but regardless,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
even in with like the unique characters and the fact that again, like for you, it wasn't even like the main thing. It was a spin off of it, of like basically the characters
Mm,
from it being as children. Which, by the way, I love the art style of it more than anything else. I feel like it's obviously a staple of like your art style as a whole more than anything else. Seeing,
mm.
and I imagine that's going to lead to maybe another comic that we talk about here before too long. But I just want to say like I love like the art style of it, and I love like the fun weird innocence of it in a way, because it's like at least the focus that I saw of it a lot is obviously like the characters' relations with the other in one form or fashion. How they love this person, how this person doesn't love that person. X Y Z. Weird love triangles, rhombuses, rectangles, pentagons, whatever shape you want to involve with love in one form or
Right.
fashion. um, and the fact he did it for 3 years, that's saying something more than anything else. Like there are some people that they'll start something and they'll be lucky if they even hit like 10 comics or 10 episodes or something like that of what they're making. What was it about
Mhm.
these characters and the story that kept you like going on with it for those 3 years?
Yeah, well, they're very well-rounded characters, and I think again, like these teachers who created the project were nice enough to allowing me to change the characters and like make them more me in a way.
Okay.
Uh, so it created very fun dynamics that I was happy to work with. And I think, if you see the characters, the actual characters in the main series, and then my version, a spin-off, um, of course, they start from the same point, but then, after 2 years, my characters went a little bit more crazy in a certain direction. and their characters went in the other direction. So of course the archetype is the same, but then the character building got a little bit different because you write about what you know and what you're interested about.
Right.
Um, and but I don't know, like I think also I'm a kind of I'm a obsessive person if we didn't talk it about too much. And so when I have a task, I will commit to the task. I
Okay.
will do that. So if you tell me to stop, I won't stop. So I would just go, I keep going, and keep using this as a chance to improve myself and get better and to understand better my artistic flavor as well.
For you, it was like, someone telling you, "Hey, you need to stop." Okay, and you just keep going in your little drawing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's great. And also, I love the shout out to your professors because I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, I think one of those professors also led you to doing another very significant comic strip and comic book that
Yeah.
I think we've already danced around it a little bit with one of the issues beforehand and whatnot. But you went out of your way to make a comic strip book about Charles Schulz called Funny Things. How did this even come to
Right.
how did this even come to be? Like how did this concept like come to be? What made you want to like tackle this project more than anything else?
hmm Yeah. So again, this teacher of mine, so Francesco Matteucci, I was calling Francesco for fun,
Mm-hmm.
easier to say. Um, so Francesco again, I, I got everyone crazy in the school because I was a comic strip guy. And so he again knew that, and he knew about my obsession with Schultz. And he was working on a couple of comic biographies at that
Okay.
time, and he had the idea of how about telling the story of another cartoonist, and how about Schultz. And then when he got this idea, he contacted me because he knew I was crazy. And so he said, I had this idea about Schultz biography. And I was like, I got you, girl. Like I prepared my life to this. I didn't know I was, but I'm ready. And I started immediately working on it because I was very interested and still am. And I've been reading essays and biographies and secondary literature about Peanuts and Schultz. So I knew a lot already, like starting the project, and so I already have so many ideas, and so let's do it in comic strips, and let's have this narrative frame, and we're gonna talk about this period of his life, and I had full the full book in my head
Okay.
immediately. So it's so I launched myself into it with a lot of passion.
No, honestly, like that makes sense. Again, given what we already talked about with how much Peanuts even meant to you in the first place, the fact that you got a
Mm,
chance to really deep dive into the creator and the reason why it's there in the first place, like that must have been like a very interesting process for you just in general. Like, because it's one thing to obviously love and admire like a piece of work, or obviously to admire art in one form or fashion, but to really like try to dive deep and learn more about the creator and try to translate that as well, once again, similar to the importance of being earnest, that had to be like a fun challenge at the end of the day.
yes, it was a very fun challenge. And it was more challenging than the Oscar Wilde one because I'm not, and now I'm telling the life of a person that actually existed,
Right.
and this person is probably the biggest comic strip cartoonist of all time. And so
Arguably, yeah.
I'm telling, right? So I am telling the story of this man through the medium that made him so important and famous, right? And so this again, this duality about, I have to tell the story of this person, but at the same time, it's comic strip, so I have to insert my own voice somehow in order to make it work. It was a lot,
I bet.
and especially because there's a lot of emotions involved when you narrate a biography, and so I really, there was this moment where I was really trying to, gonna sound very crazy, but trying to um, like put myself into Schulz's shoes and
Right.
try to understand what he would feel in certain moments, and then elaborate that, and then think how would I make a comic strip about that moment, with those feelings. And that's so I created this, this this chimera like Schulz Luca monster thing in order to make this book. But it was a very interesting process, and I loved it, to be honest. It was really, really, really fun.
Oh no, it looked like it would
And
have been fun more than
yeah,
anything else.
yeah, yeah. And it was also a very fast process too,
Really?
because, so the book is a thick book. It's like more than 400 pages, but
Right.
like from start to end, it took around 2 years to make the whole book. So with also researching and these kind of things. So like writing was 6 months, and then drawing was 7 months, something like that. So something really, really crazy. But this being fast really helped the this personification, is that a word? Personification, me trying to become
Yeah. Basically
Mhm.
trying your best to I had the word and I lost it as well. Like
Right, yes,
basically not really like call upon Schultz, but really try to like embrace like Charles Schultz and like his thought process or whatnot, and
yes,
how you could translate that into how he lived his life and got to the point to where he
exactly,
was. Um,
yes, exactly, yeah.
yeah, and
Mhm.
obviously, I imagine it probably would have been a lot easier if you had the opportunity to talk to Schultz, but unfortunately, he passed away in 2000. But I am curious, like how deep into the research did you get? Like was there stuff that even you were surprised by? Did you get a chance to potentially like talk to his estate and stuff? Like how deep did the research go when it comes to developing this?
The research got really deep, but I didn't talk personally to people.
Okay.
Uh, because like the publisher, so Top Shelf, who published the book, um, thought that since it's such a touchy subject, we're talking about lies, we're talking about the Schultz estate, which is so big,
Yeah.
right? Um, preferred that we didn't talk to the estate, so that we could keep we could be free artistically
Okay.
to do what we wanted, which I really appreciate, actually.
Right. Right.
So, in order to preserve this artistic freedom, we didn't talk to the estate, but I think I read everything on this earth about Schultz. Things that also weren't needed, but um, yeah, like I have this full library, full of books about Schultz and articles, and also photographs, like researching, going into archives to find photos. Um, yeah, like it went deep. It went deep for sure. But also it was trying to, so of course the primary sources were very important, because so the main point of the book was, we know Schultz as an artist, as a cartoonist, but I wanted to talk about Schultz as a man, as a
Yeah.
human being as well.
The person,
Um,
not like the person behind the art, not just the art that he presented.
Exactly. And so the duality of these personas, and also the conflicts, if you want, of these personas in, the man Schulz. And so in order to do that, it was important also to read a lot of primary sources. So things that Schulz wrote himself.
Okay.
So we have a lot of those, but then of course you cannot trust the main source, the primary source. So also reading a lot of second accounts, people knowing him, and of course reading the comics, of course Peanuts and the other comics he made, in order to understand his point of view. But yeah, it went deep, and it really like at the very beginning of the book, there's this little note that says that, oh, this is yet another love letter in your mailbox, and this is literally what this book is. It's a huge, a, a little too huge love letter, uh, to Schulz and to what he created, and yeah, that's what this book is. So of course it's a, and I always say it's like a when you watch a movie about a person, you cannot consider that movie as a scientific piece of work. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not, it's not an actual biography. It's like it's entertainment still.
Yeah.
So of course this funny things is entertainment. Of course it's based on real facts, and there's nothing false I think in the book. But of course Schultz became a character that I think is really close to what Schultz actually was, and people who knew him told me, oh, what my experience of Schultz is actually what I could read in this book.
There you
So
go.
that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
um, yeah, but also, it's a show that it's, stained with my love for him as
Right.
well. Uh, and my idea, and also stained by my own author voice. Uh,
Abs-
yeah.
no, absolutely. I mean,
Mhm.
I can easily tell from the little taste I've been able to get or whatnot. Like, obviously, it was not going to be a verbatim, word for word, like moment for moment of his life more than anything else. But like the way that you kind of portrayed like his emotions and his feelings and like how he was around other people or whatnot, like I can easily see how people can look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's the Chuck I knew. That's you know that's good old Sparky right there, if I can remember more than anything else.
Yeah.
It does. I also am curious because obviously, like you had just illustrated, there was a lot of research that went into this book,
Mm.
and a lot of I imagine like creative, like challenges trying to make sure how can I translate this in the comic form or whatnot. Was there a particular fact or a particular story that surprised you as you were doing this research? Like one that even like you were doing the research, like, wait, is that real or is that what? Huh?
So again, because I've been reading so much before, there was nothing really new that I didn't know that
Right.
surprised me. Um, there's two things maybe. One is there's this line on this book. It's the first biography that they wrote of Schultz. It was written like in the 80s, so he was still alive. So he was interviewed a lot
Right.
for this book. And there's this anecdote told there that um, so Schultz as a child. So I'm more or less quoting this book. Okay, of course it's not word to word, but more or
Yeah.
less is this. So in the book it says that he modeled sneakers at the mall to get money so that he could buy like a gift to his mom.
Oh.
And to this day, I have no clue what modeling sneakers means. So, so I am confused. I don't know what that is.
Like I'm trying to think like is that like you actually like wore the sneakers so that the other person could be like, oh, is that what they look like? Oh, that'd be interesting. Or is that like physically making them like like setting them up on like like because it was at the mall you said or whatnot, like is he like physically like setting up the
Right.
display or what? There's so many different ideas and directions on because that's such a vague term, modeling sneakers,
Yes.
like huh.
Yes. Also, hold on. Sorry, it's not sneakers. It's what's the word? Knickers?
Oh,
What's the word? It's like
knickers.
underwear.
Okay. Oh,
Underwear?
oh, that
Yeah,
okay.
knickers.
Okay,
Is it
that
knickers? I'm
yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that wow, that okay,
Yes. It's
especially
like what is this world? Like what is this weird dystopia I'm just in a sentence thrown into? Like we have a child modeling underwear at the mall
yeah,
to get
that
money?
I mean, it was.
What?
I mean, it was definitely a different time. This was like like he was interviewed in the '80s. What would this been happening? Like what the '50s or '60s or whatnot when he would.
And no, and it was probably the 30s, I guess,
Oh
when it
wow.
was a
Okay.
child, right?
I mean,
Yeah, but
man. Well, I mean, to be fair,
like
with how
20s,
yeah, I mean, with how
end of 20s,
okay.
30s.
I mean, if it was like in the 30s, I mean, that was around the time the Great Depression was. I guess anyone was desperate for anything to get a little bit of money, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what modeling makers means. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna put this in the book
Yeah, probably
because
for
I
the
don't know.
best.
So that's that. If anyone listening knows the answer to this, please contact me. I don't know what's happening. And then the second thing, it's a fact, a very important one actually, that I found out only doing the research for the book.
Mm-hmm.
That is so Schulz fought in World War II,
Right.
and so he was drafted like everybody else. But when he was drafted, his mother was really, really sick, and she ended up passing during the first weeks of him being drafted,
Mm-hmm.
like at the training camp. And because of that, he got bereavement leave. I guess that's how you say it.
Yep.
And so he got to go back home and, deal with the funeral and all of that. And so then he got back into camp, training camp, a couple of weeks after. So he's, um, how do you call it? Like he's the group. I don't know how do you call it, like the, you know,
Yeah,
um,
his group or his troop or
battalion.
whatnot.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
battalion. There you go. That's probably the better way for.
Troop. Yeah, was different because he moved to another camp,
Right.
right? So like
Right.
he had to, be he changed his battalion, and the battalion he was in first was sent to D-Day.
Oh.
So he really, he really got lucky in
Yeah.
that moment, right? So because of the death of his mom, he probably the death of his mom saved his life.
Yeah.
We can honestly say put it that way. So that I didn't know, and I found out during the research. And actually, um, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I like this. I got this. Like I was already drawing I was drawing like so because we wrote everything first and then I started drawing everything after, and
Right.
I was already drawing, so everything was already written. And I got this piece of information like this is too powerful, we have to use this. And so I changed like some comics in order to fit this to the book.
Okay.
So it changed the direction of the book a little bit. But yeah, that's something I learned afterwards.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, both those facts I didn't know about before you telling me. So those are both like very interesting for me, especially like obviously the war story more than anything else. Like just think like if his mom had lived like maybe like a couple more weeks or whatnot, like
Exactly,
he
yeah.
could have been part of that D-Day attack, and Lord knows what could have happened there because a lot of deaths happened on that day. So like
Yeah. So we got this close.
yeah.
This close. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really like sometimes you really think, wow, fate and destiny.
Yeah, no
How
joke.
powerful. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah.
insane at the
Mm.
end of the day. And obviously, like you said, like it's that whole entire thing, 2 years taken to get to do that, put that out there, and I imagine the reception for it must have been like really incredible, or at least like relieving for you more than anything else. The fact that there are several people that definitely enjoyed it, especially those that, like you said, they're close to Charles Schultz and they straight up came to you and be like, "Yeah, no, this was the Chuck I knew." Like that had to have been like a bit of a surreal moment to think like this is the guy that probably inspired you to even be in this field in the first place because his comics like really meant something for you, and here you are being kind of one of the muses that tells his story that other people can look upon and maybe even get that same inspiration. Like how much of a surreal experience is it for you to even get this book done and out there into the world?
It is very surreal. It's a very full circle moment, how you say nowadays.
Yep, yep.
It's um yeah, it was surreal for sure. It was scary as well.
Oh yeah.
Um I wanted to say something, but now it's escaping my mind. But anyway, like of course, the book came out. Yeah, that's what it was. I think, again, I my main goal since I was a little child was to have a comic strip, and comic strips are a very American genre.
Yes they are.
So in order to make comic strips, you need to break into the American market, American field. And so the fact that I could, you know, break into the field with this book about Schulz, about the person who in the first place wanted me to break into this field, is a very full circle moment for me for sure.
Absolutely.
But it was insane. So I think I completely lost my mind when the book came out. It was tough on me, um, because of course you have people like when the book came out. I think a couple of days before, there was this beautiful article written by Jeff Smith, so the creator
Okay.
of Bones, on the New York Times, reviewing the book, and he wrote this beautiful review of the book, and he was one of the first people who said, "Oh, I can really, I got to." Meet Schulz, and I can see the Schulz I met in this book.
Oh.
That's such an important person in the comic field says that it was in the New York Times. So it was a lot. But then, there's the book comes out, there's a lot of reviews coming in, and some were positive, some were not. And of course, the ones who are not, they really stick with you more than the ones that they are positive. And of course, they're very. I mean, in the the actual channels, like actual articles, they're more or less all positive, but one, I would
Right,
say.
right.
Um, but then you go on Amazon, you go on Goodreads. Goodreads, it's a hell space. Like it's horrible place for authors. I don't know. Like everybody loves Goodreads. Hate it. Like the thing that people write on Goodreads. If you want to have a reason to end it all, go on Goodreads and read reviews about yourself. It's crazy. It's crazy out there. So, and the Goodreads reviews are the first ones who came out,
Okay.
and it was horrible. So this book, I put so much love and passion into it, became this source of anxiety. To this day, I cannot look at the book. It gives me anxiety. Like, I
Oh.
cannot put it on the book on the bookshelf. I cannot look at it. It's a little sad, but I'm trying, to move past that. Um, but yeah, like things that people write. Like if you, dear listener, if you want to have a laugh, go on Goodreads and read the reviews of funny things. And there's some good ones, of course,
Well,
but some
yeah.
of them, Jesus.
I think for your mental sake, we need to make sure that Goodreads is blocked off of any device you can log on in order to see
Yes,
that. Because for your
absolutely.
mental sake, you need to stay away from there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, no, I stopped looking at it long time ago. It's like I think I was on it the first 2 days, and I was like, "That's it. I cannot look at this
yeah.
any longer, any longer." And I have like another cartoonist that also was published by Top Chef, Kevin out there, and he also said like, "I got into Goodreads. It's horrible in there," and I was like, "I know."
Is it?
People are so mean.
I find it ironic that the place called Goodreads is the one that has all the bad reviews.
And because people are so into reading that they do not they're not afraid of saying the meanest things
Yeah.
about books. And I think this is my rant about reviewing right now. Okay, deal with it. I think now, especially nowadays, like people like me, even people writing actual books, like novels, they are doing this in their free time. They're
Yeah.
juggling multiple jobs. They put themselves out there creating art, trying to do something with the little time they have. Do not nag on them.
Yeah.
They're doing their best. This is not school. This is not an assignment you were given to grade. There's nothing to grade. You receive this piece of art, you like it, great. You don't like it, someone else will like it. Shut up. You
Yeah.
don't need to say that.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
And this was my rant.
I think that can be gone just past reviewing and just social media in general, because there's a lot of places where
Yeah.
social media is so negative and it does not need to be for one form or fashion.
No,
Trust me,
really. No.
trust me, I'm right there with you when it comes to that to a certain extent. Like I get it. Like some people like for them it's a place for them to where they could be somewhat anonymous and they can vent. I get it. But also like
Yeah.
people calm down. Like if you
Calm
don't
down.
Oh goodness.
Also, art is so personal, so like you're
Yes.
attacking people personally. When you say, "Oh, this is this is stupid, this is dumb. You're saying that the person is dumb and stupid because it's so personal. You shouldn't do that. I cannot say you shouldn't, but it's mean. It's mean. I don't like. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
No, no, trust me. I get it. I'm right there with you. I'm always a person that tries to put forward positivity in one form or fashion in the world. So like,
Yes.
I
Hmm.
I get it. The only time that there should be any sort of negativity on social media is when they're negative towards things that are not human, aka AI, bots, all that kind of stuff. That
Absolutely. Ah, you got me there.
they that is the one place where I'll be like, no, trash it all you want. There's no need for that. But when it comes to the actual like human stuff or whatnot, like, hey, at the end of the day, if it's something that you just don't understand, you don't agree with, just simply be like, that's not for me. That's all it has to be.
Exactly.
It's not for
It's
me.
it's not for you. And guess what? Not everything has to be for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I will talk about, first off, I will say with that book or whatnot, like, first off, that's something that, as on top of the importance of being earnest, that's another one of those, like, as soon as I get some money, I'm definitely getting the Schulz book because I definitely want to delve into. I love Peanuts, and I love, I want to see exactly like your interpretation, like how, you know his life through your lens. I feel like it's a fun read at the end of the day more than anything else. But
yeah, I think it's fun. Yes. Yeah. And
but
you learned things for sure.
Oh,
Hmm.
absolutely. I didn't anticipate
Yeah.
not learning
Mhm.
anything about Schultz because, in fact, that relatively
Yeah. Yeah.
speaking,
Yeah.
like I am not as well versed in the Peanuts verse as you are, obviously, because you had to do all the research or whatnot. So, like for me, it's gonna be a learning experience because I get to learn more about this incredible person that became a staple for American culture in one form or fashion, more than anything else. Uh,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
but since we were talking about previously stuff that is made for you, how about the thing that you have more or less made for yourself? And I think arguably, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the longest running thing you've made at this point. You are the wonderful creator behind the fantastic, as I said, ongoing slice of life comic strip Wannabe. Now, I'm
There
curious.
you have it.
First off, for those who have no idea what in the world I'm even talking about in the first place, how would you describe Wannabe?
Ooh, okay. Wannabe is a comic strip that deals with a group of friends, three friends in their 20 somethings, or right off, like, their bachelors, something like that. And they are struggling to become what they want to be, hence Wannabe.
Yep, Wannabe.
And I think, like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but when we were talking about before, there was a moment where you said about my resilience of like having this dream of becoming a cartoonist and keep working for that. That is what Wannabe is all about, in
Yeah.
a way. Like, there's three people more or less wanting to be something, on trying to figure out what they want to be, and they're very, very resilient, and they try all their best to become that.
I mean, I was gonna bring this up in a second, but I might as well go ahead and bring this up now. I feel like, especially as I was reading more into the strip or whatnot, especially as we started talking and whatnot, I felt like these three characters are just three different like personas of you, just like brought to life more than anything else. Like, how much of yourself
Oh,
did
yeah.
you put into this strip?
Oh, a lot, all of it.
Fair.
I'm I'm no holding back. Yeah, no, a lot. Yes, and as you said, it's true. Like, these three characters represented three different parts of me, and again, comic strips, they need to be so personal, and I strategically created these characters to find an outlet, to talk about different things that bother me, or that, like, I'm invested in. So yeah, so it's really, yeah. So there's a lot. It's everything. Everything is me in there.
That is
Yeah, for sure.
that is extremely valid. What inspired you to even make the strip in the first place? Like, what was the spark that led to this fun strip that we've got to this day?
Hmm. Yeah, well, the idea of the strip is very, very old.
Okay.
Because again, I had this goal in my head. I want to become a cartoonist, and so I need a feature. I need a comic strip to present, and so I had this idea, like, yeah, I think now it's like 10 years ago. But I knew, so before the importance of being earnest, before kindergarten, before everything.
Okay.
But I knew I wasn't ready at that time to make it good, and to, break through, uh, syndication, and also, there's the big elephant in the room. I'm not a native speaker, like an English native speaker, so
Right.
in order to make a comic strip, you need to know the language pretty well. So that was also a part of it. I'm not ready now to pitch this project, but it was always on the head of my head, the back of my head, and and it was a little different. There were four characters.
Okay.
And there was something, they were more or less what they are now, but some characters got fused together, some different aspects got distributed differently, so there I did a little bit of a rework. But after Funny Things, I said, okay, now I'm ready.
There you
I'm
go.
ready to present this project. And how with publishing book works, so we finished the editing and everything of Funny Things, I would say around January 2023,
Okay.
probably. Yes, I think. The book was, so you need some months of, where the advertisement ball gets rolling, all these things. So the book would have to come out on August 2023. So I had this months where I was like, okay, I am ready to work on this project and to pitch this project. And I will use Funny Things as a launch board, to get to the people I need to get to
Right.
get this project, published. And that's what I did. So like during those months, I took back my notes of the idea I had 10 years ago. I reworked stuff, rearranged things, started, I wrote and drew, I think, six week worth of content. And then, the book was out, Funny Things was out. I went to the US to do some shows. We went to SPX in DC.
Okay.
And there I was trying to make in contacts, try to, find people. And
Yeah,
then,
do some networking.
um, yeah, exactly, networking. Also, we were recording a podcast
Oh, there you go.
for the book. And I asked them because they knew people who work with AMU. So the syndicate that to this day publishes Peanuts and Garfield. And so I got the contacts and I sent my project to them and they accepted it. So I was like, yeah, I did it. um, yeah, so that's how it happened. So how it began.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, like, hey, that is a very good start. One, the fact that this is something that you've had in the works for like years, like, and always kind of
Mhm.
had the back burner, like I said, in the back of your mind more than anything else. Getting the chance to, once you got the Charles Schulz book out there into the world, making those connections and getting an opportunity to finally like go for that dream more than anything else. Especially with such a great concept like Wannabe, like it's very simple, but yet it's very effective. Of just three, 20 somethings, just trying to make it in the world in one form or fashion, just trying to live day by day with their each with their own very unique, goals that they want to achieve in one form or fashion, or lack thereof in one form or fashion for one in particular. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotta say, like, I cannot tell you how much I love these characters alone. Like Mackenzie, Andy, and Margot. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love each of these characters more than anything else. How did the development for the characters come to be, if I may ask?
Yeah. So again, so they they were created as outlets for me to talk about things, right?
Right?
So at the beginning, again, there were four characters, but I reworked them. I guess, Andy is there to talk about all the artistic uh, problems I have,
Mm-hmm.
this artistic drama, and also this very specific goal that, oh, I want to be this in life and I don't know how to get there and how to do it, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try it anyway. So he represents that in my life. So like, oh, I need something, a character with whom I can talk about art and artistic process. um Margot is quite the opposite. So she is someone who's very talented at a lot
Yes.
of things, everything. What am I saying? Like extremely, like talented to a fault, like stupid talented.
Right.
But she doesn't. she has no interest in anything. So whatever she's very talented in, she doesn't like that. So she's super smart, so people force her in going into very smart schools and studying very complicated things, but she has no interest in. And so when Wannabe starts, she decided, no, I don't. I this is I don't. I'm not gonna appease what people want me to do. I'm not gonna fulfill any expectations. I'm gonna just do what I want, which is, I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out. So she, so she represents this sense of, you know, disorientation, not knowing what to do, not knowing what's happening,
Right.
but having skills that you do not care about. So this problem that, this absurd idea that, usually when we're good at something, we end up doing that thing because that's what makes sense. But how about you don't want to do that? So she's born from this concept, and she represents this part of me that is very insecure, doesn't know what to do with life, and also like this. She's a little bit of the social warrior of the three. So like she cares a lot about the world and like environment
Yep.
and um yeah, she's a little bit existential in that regard. So she's my outlet for that. And then we have Mackenzie, who is the clown of the three, and so she represents this part of me of, oh, I'm just a goofball. I want just to be stupid and do stupid things, and also so she wants to be an influencer
Hmm.
essentially. So she doesn't necessarily know what what she wants to be, but she knows how to become that through social media.
Yep.
And so she wants to be an influencer, but she's terrible at that, and she's obsessed with clout and success, which is also, talking about my what I said before, that my problem, that I cannot separate my idea of success with the idea of, the common idea of success. She
Right.
represents that a little bit, right? So she's dependent on what people think about her, on she needs to be successful, and so she needs to have a lot of followers, a lot of clout, but she has none of that. But regardless, she's very happy, and she's a goofball, and she's our comic relief of the three. I mean, all three of them are funny in their own way, but she
Yes.
is the goof.
No, absolutely. I mean,
Yes.
I can tell you right now, Luca, as I was reading the comic more and more or whatnot, I cannot tell you how I related to each and every single one of those characters as well in one form or fashion. Because obviously, Mackenzie with the influencer thing, obviously, as someone that hosts a podcast or whatnot, I would love to get more eyes on the product. I just don't know how. I just keep doing what I'm doing, just being the silly goofball that I am, and just keep moving forward. Uh,
Exactly.
with Andy as well, again, back to the podcast, but just in general with like the creative ventures, like I want to do something within like the creative field in one form or fashion. I just don't know how to get there in one form. Just keep doing what I can, but hopefully it'll click. I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna keep pushing as much as I can. There are some days where I don't want to do it. I feel like I have the plan, but then like next thing I know is like, oh wait, it's 2 weeks after I was supposed to do that crap. Let's see if I can do it more than anything else. And with Margot, again, having that kind of like having the want to be successful in something, but not the passion of being successful in something more than anything else. Like that's something that's also very relatable. And as well, I can't deny the narrator is probably my favorite character of the entire thing.
We forgot about the
How could
narrator.
you forget about the narrator? For goodness sake. Like every single time the narrator is involved, like directly with the characters in one form or fashion, that is my favorite strip, hands down. I always love that like little bit of interaction in one form or another. And I imagine for you, going back to like how this is basically like, an interpretation of you, how you're able to express yourself. That's just you being just smarky and silly just for a little bit more, just being like, yeah, let me add a little something silly to this strip. Let's go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was told when I was in high school that people would have liked to have me narrate their life. This idea came in. It's like, huh, I guess I am a little bit of a snarky bitch sometimes. So, and so this is how the narrator came to be. Like, how about this entity that comments? on the lives of these three people. And it's gonna be snarky, and it's gonna be, what you expect to be. Like if you would have to comment your own life, it's gonna be a snarky comment.
Yeah.
And so that's how what a narrator is. Yeah, but I'm glad you like him because I found myself. This is also like, the problems I had, the mental problems I had when Wannabe came to fruition. Like my humor was a little bit meaner, I would say at the beginning. Uh, and people were bothered by that.
Aw.
So I had to, dial it a little bit back. So it's like, but I cannot dial the narrator back, of course. The narrator is snarky and is mean, and that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I am glad that you still enjoy the narrator as a mean entity that comments on people.
Look, I'm
So
someone.
thank you for that.
Look, I'm someone that can also be a little snarky in real life more than anything else. Like I could be a smartass here and there at times, and so like it's
Mm.
always fun, especially like for example, anytime I see the narrator and Margot just like bickering back and forth on like little things or whatnot, just having a little fun. Like that's the kind of banter that I love, and like in situations like that. Like I'm thinking of the one comic in particular of like the narrator being like, it looks like Margot is finally getting the opportunity to look like Margot's not really doing much of anything this day, and Margot's like, yep, and that's the plan. Nothing. All of a sudden, Margot's head inflated to be the size of a cloud, and she started floating away. Is this supposed to be a reaction to what's going on, or are you the causation of what's going on?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 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 I think also it's funny how, like, I think this comes naturally, of course, because of the personality of the characters. But I think, the reactions, so Mackenzie's reaction to the narrator is being a little bit unbothered by it. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, I am good. You don't really, your comments don't mean anything to me. And it is going to be destroyed by any comment
yeah,
of the narrator. Margot just claps back,
yeah, exactly.
and she has the response to the narrator as well.
Like I think Mackenzie's just perfect response is just like, "Hey, at least you noticed me more than anything else," because
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're obsessed with me or what?
au contraire. I mean, like I've loved both how these characters like. I also love seeing just like how throughout the I looked at it or whatnot. You're slowly approaching 700 strips at this point, which is incredible to just say out loud more than anything else. Like and
Yes.
how much growth that you kind of had from like when you start out to where you are, all the different kinds of stories you've been able to tell and all that kind of stuff. Like how's the process been like for you? Like really being going forth and telling this story. It has to be like again another one of those like weird surreal things of like even though it may not be in all the papers or something like that. It's got to be really insane to think how much you've dedicated yourself to this and are pushing forth to make this a reality.
Yes. Yeah, it's a really fun process to me, and I have a lot of ideas, especially with story arcs. Like sometimes I'm a little disappointed that I don't have enough time to dedicate to it because again, I'm doing this in my free time.
Right,
So
right.
I have other jobs, I have other things to do. And it's a daily comic strip, so it's a lot of work. And so, especially with story arcs, you need to prepare them way in advance, and you need to know what's happening. And sometimes I feel myself like I don't have enough time and energy to dedicate to story arcs. So when I get the chance to work on them, I'm really happy, and because you can develop the characters a little bit more with them. um but I think because I train myself so much, I think I shine more on like one-off comic strips,
Mm-hmm.
like or just funny joke, that's it. But I really enjoy working on these arcs that allow characters to develop, and we get to know them a little bit better. And I have a lot of them planned in my head, but I don't have the time to actually, plan them out so
Right,
that
right.
I know exactly what happens. But hopefully I will have more time with the future, but I'm not planning on stopping at all. So like there
Good.
was this is an exclusive probably, that it is an exclusive for you. Yes, yes. Okay, let's get real. Um, so I was, again, as I said, I was picked by AMU
Mm-hmm.
for Go Comics, so online, uh, after some months, like after a year and some months, I decided to quit from Go Comics because I couldn't see myself growing in there.
Right, right.
Um, and so I did things on my own, on my socials, and on my platforms. I kept doing comics. So that wasn't a reason to stop for me, not at all. Like I'm very dedicated, I always said before,
Yeah.
and this is, my dream. So I really am putting everything in it. Um, and but now, so by the time this podcast will be live, I will be part of the King Features comics.
Oh.
So I'm gonna be part of a new syndicate. So I did it again, y'all.
Correct, correct,
So I,
correct me if I'm
yeah,
wrong. Isn't that the same King Feature? Isn't that the same one that Super D is partner when it comes to Rosebuds or whatnot?
absolutely. And let's
Yeah.
say it, he was part of the transition for
Okay.
sure. He helped expedite things, if not let things happen.
Yeah. No, honestly,
For sure, for sure, yes.
honestly, that's incredible to hear. And like I've kind of established at this point with how much you've dedicated to this comic, like it deserves like syndication in one form or fashion. Like I sincerely hope that if this isn't like the step, I'm certainly hoping it's a step closer to getting that goal of like being featured in newspapers and such, like getting that syndication that you so rightfully deserve after all these years dedicating yourself and loving this craft in one form or fashion at this point. Like seriously, like I'm not, I know this is a podcast where I'm supposed to like basically hype you up more than anything else, but I'm not gaslighting when I say like this comic is legitimately like a really fun comic that I think anyone, especially like of a certain age, like myself or anyone that's ever like had a dream and just doesn't know how to achieve it in one form or fashion, they could read this comic and they can fully understand it. They can fully relate in one form or fashion. Like it's a very easy comic to get on board for and to just love these characters in one form or fashion.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes,
Oh,
yes, I
absolutely.
I agree. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, it's nice, and I'm glad that I can touch some hearts like that. Again, like when I was more or less starting Super D. Now we're talking about him, of course, because we have to
We
talk
have
about Super
to.
D. We he noticed my comics and he reached out to me, and I was like, "What has this superstar cartoonist? What does this superstar cartoonist want with me?" Like, because especially in a realm of social media, if you have like more followers, you don't talk with the people with less followers. Of course, if you're a normal person, you do.
Yeah.
But it feels like there is this hierarchy,
This
this
almost like
weird community
stigma more than
hierarchy.
anything else of like why would this person
Yes.
with like thousands of more followers want to take their time to even acknowledge me, let alone talk to me?
Right. Yes. Exactly. And it was exactly that in my mind. Also because I was really small by that time. Now I'm a little bit bigger, but I was
Still a little.
really small. Yeah. And so he reached out and we started this beautiful friendship we have now, and we talk every day and we hump each other up and we help each other out in this crazy world that is comic strip, because he is 1 year younger than me, but
Oh wow.
we are the youngest people like doing this job.
Yeah.
And it's an art that it's sadly dying a little bit, and not because the art itself is not good for the times, it's because of all the infrastructure that was created around this art.
Yep.
Um, and I still think that comic strip have so much to give and is such a powerful art form. But because of how things went, now there's very few young people interested in it. And so the fact that we both have this interest and we have so passionate about it, and we're more or less the same age, it means so much to have this friendship and this partnership, like making comic strips in this day and age. I think it's very, 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 very sweet and very powerful. And I'm very grateful at everything he's done for me, because
Oh yeah.
he saw something on Wannabe, and so he was his duty to tell everybody in the world Wannabe, and to bother people with Wannabe. And so you're one of his victims, I understand. And so, you got to know Wannabe because of him. So he's my agent, he's my friend. So yes, I owe a lot of what's happening to me in my life to him right now, and I'm very grateful. So
No,
I
that's
know
good.
you're listening, D.
Yeah, I know you're listening
Hi.
too, D. I know you are. And look, I'll put it like this: like just because someone recommends me something doesn't always mean I'm going to be wanting more of it, like I have with Wannabe. Like genuinely, like D aside, I'm so glad that I got the chance to like see this comic in the first place. And again, get to really like love these characters and grow attached to these characters and all the different fun scenarios in one form or fashion or whatnot. I will say though, I
Mm.
am waiting for the day we finally get the Mackenzie podcast arc. That is the arc I think we're missing at this point.
That is one comic strip when she almost starts a podcast. It's like Margot saying like, "Oh my God, I don't have like I need a new podcast. I finished all the episodes," and Mackenzie is ready to record a podcast immediately. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm here. I'm recording everything for you." But yes, there's something that will happen eventually, of course.
Like
Um, there's
I
how
need the frenzy cast. That is what I'm waiting for.
I also had the idea of making a newsletter, but actually also a real newsletter. So like in
Okay.
the comic, she will release a newsletter, a Mackenzie newsletter, but it's gonna be real as well, so people can subscribe to it and have this meta moment
Yep.
with Mackenzie. But but it takes time to like, put things together. But yeah, but Mackenzie, the fun things with Mackenzie is that she embodies the modern days, so she can really do anything.
Yeah. Oh
And
my
she's
god.
gonna do it in a fun way. So she's very powerful
The
in that regard.
the fact that there's a potential of a modern syndicated comic that could be printed in newspapers that references TikTok is a marvel on its own more than anything else. All right.
Yeah, yeah, we have there's not a lot of modernity in the newspapers nowadays, but
Oh
yeah.
goodness,
Mhm.
I am curious though because obviously, like I established already, you're slowly but surely getting to close to 700 trips at this point with so many fun scenarios, so many fun jokes, so many fun arcs or whatnot. There has to be a personal favorite for you. Do you have like a personal favorite comic strip or personal favorite moment during the Wannabe run?
Wow. Okay, there's one that came immediately to my head, but it's almost a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
So when Wannabe was launched, it was launched on Go Comics. I don't know
Right.
if you're familiar with the platform, but there's the audience there. How can I put this lightly? The audience age tends to be a little older
Right.
than the planned age of the demographic that Wannabe is, thought for. And so a lot of comments that I was getting there were people not understanding these characters and what they were going through, and people liking, pets and children more than these characters.
Okay.
And so I made this comment where there's so Mackenzie's mom, she's a weird character, but um she got a dog
Yep.
that she called Mackenzie since Mackenzie left home. And so it's like a little like kind of like Maltese poodle little dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is this comic where there's this dog laying down for 4 panels doing absolutely nothing. And on the last panel, the narrator said, "Honestly, this is the best wannabe comic strip
Yes.
ever." And unironically, I think it is.
Yeah, it goes back to like you said how when it comes to the narrator being a little snarky, here and there or whatnot.
Mhm.
I could tell, given what you were talking about, how Go Comics was. I could tell there was a little bit of the tongue in cheek. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be doing numbers more than anything else.
Yes, yes. So I was a little cheeky there, and I did a little joke on my audience. But I think it's fine also because the expression of the dog is so stupid. It's so
Oh
like
yeah.
void of anything, and it's just laying there doing nothing. It makes me laugh. Like it's I shouldn't laugh on my own comics, but it truly does. I think it's a funny one.
I mean, I would
I
be
think it's a
laughing.
funny one.
I'd be laughing at my own comics. I mean, if it was me making comics, I'm like, I'm making these. I mean, you said yourself, these characters are more or less like an interpretation of you in one form or fashion. So, like, sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself when things get silly and stupid like that more than anything else.
Yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't feel very humble to do that. But yeah, let's do it.
There you go.
That's the fun of our own comic.
And like I said, I'm also curious as well with how much you've been able to do, and the fact that you're about to take this next major step when it comes to King features and such. Where do you hope to take Wannabe? Like, what is the hope and expectation that you have for Wannabe? Going forward.
Yeah, I just I love for Wannabe to go forward any direction. Any direction is welcomed. No, through King Features, I hope, of course, to get to newspapers eventually. I hope, but also just also online syndication is a huge step for
Oh
me. So
yeah,
having my comics on online papers, and just have people read comics and hopefully inspire people. I think that's the main goal, right? Why I'm doing this, because my little Luca child self, was an anxious wreck and loved to read comics to be inspired and find peace in the pages on the comics and balloons, etc. So I want to be that and do that, right? So I
right.
want to communicate my own things and like reach out to people, and I hope to inspire people with my comics. And yeah, that's the main goal. But of course, all this online syndication, print syndication, of course, they are huge goals that I hope to get there at one point.
Oh, I sincerely hope you get there in one form or fashion, regardless. I mean, for goodness sakes, like I said, especially with how much you've dedicated to it and how many people are already loving it now, and especially with the future syndication, how many more can get their eyes on it and get a chance to love these characters as well. This you said you would love to go any direction. I'm hoping that direction is up. Let's keep it going up more than anything else.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's go up. Let's go up. Let's just also left and right are fine for me.
Yeah, left and right's
Forward,
fine.
up, left and right. Yeah, also back, just not down.
Yeah, exactly. Like we could take it back, y'all. Now, y'all, one hop this time, all
I can
that
take it
kind of
back.
stuff. uh, I mean, regardless, like it's really cool what you've been able to do. Honestly, like we talked about like again as it's 3 years old, you found these web comics or you found these strips and comics or whatnot, and found an instant connection and wanted to be a part of that. Thinking about where you were then to here you are right now, like with all the stuff that we've even talked about, like does it amaze you more or less how far you've been able to develop as an artist?
Uh, yes, and I need to, take more space for that. I think sometimes I get wrapped up with so much things I do not have,
Right.
like I want, like Mackenzie, I want more people to read my comic. I would like not to have to work three different jobs in order
Yeah.
to sustain myself. But as you say, like, I'll think back of this 3-year-old self, and what would this child think of you, seeing how much you accomplished? And I think my little Luca would be proud of me. Actually, I made a comic about this at the beginning of the year. I do not
Oh.
remember the punchline. It was Andy, Andy, my artistic outlet,
Right.
having this conversation with child Andy, having this conversation exactly this with and I don't remember how it ended. I can check it out. Let me see.
Like, yeah, sure, sure.
I
Just
absolutely don't remember.
pulling up the webtoons. Let's see when was early in the
Yeah.
year.
I got that. Give me just one sec. I have it here. I think I saw it already. Is it you? I have it. Here
There
we
you
go.
go. There you go.
Okay, I have it. I remember the punchline. I'm reading right now. The child said, "I'm so proud of you and your work. You'll never disappoint me." and then he says, "I do wish you were taller, though." That that's the punchline. Yes, which true. Yeah,
I mean, hey, look,
yeah,
we all have that one thing that we can't help but like poke at just a little bit and be like, no, wait, like,
yeah.
because obviously, like, and you've kind of attested to this or whatnot. Like, obviously, you said that sometimes you look at the have-nots rather than what you have, but like thinking back
Mhm.
to younger you, think about what they have not and what you have now more than anything else. Like, that's something that younger you again would look at and be like, that's really cool. What's with the hair though, or something small or
Exactly.
minuscule or something like that, you know?
That fashion, though. Geesh.
Well, Luca, we've been talking about a lot of incredible stuff, and I cannot tell you how much I've been loving this conversation. But for this next question, if I may, what if we go a little bit above and beyond, and I give you more or less
There we go.
the dream scenario, if I may?
Oh
Let's
gosh.
let's
Okay.
say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to him like, look, Luca, we've seen what you've been able to accomplish, and we know that there's room for you to do so much more. Like we see the potential. You just need a little extra boost, a little extra platform to get you to that point. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be giving that back to some of the cartoonists or whatnot, and really like support them. Really, give them like a good living wage, so they don't have to work 3 different jobs in order to, just live a livable wage more than anything else. But we'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise. We promise. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Luca project?
Wow. My dream project. It's a tough question because my dream project is Wannabe.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Um, oh, my dream project. Hmm. Yeah, it's really tough. Like I am working on another project that I would like to have more time to work on. I have zero time right now.
Fair.
Um, which is a graphic novel. So it's not
Oh.
comic strips, it's just a graphic novel. Um, so I would like to work on that. I don't know if that's my dream necessarily. I think like my dream is literally wannabe. I
Yeah.
think it would be like, oh, I only do wannabe. Like all my time is wannabe. And I can have the time to develop more, to like improve more and really creating something new. I think that would be. It's such a lame answer. I'm sorry
No, no,
for
no,
that,
no. It's
but
not at lame at all. I mean, for God's sakes, like I said, you've been developing this project for years, and you're only just now getting the opportunity to really get it to a wider audience. Really, yeah. Here's all the money. You could quit all your other jobs, focus all your time on
yeah,
Wannabe. Use that money, hey, a little bit if you need to like help other syndications. Be like, hey, let me help you guys, and then you help me out. Here's
yeah,
Wannabe. Let's get this published or whatnot. Like more of Wannabe is
yeah.
not a bad thing to aspire for, really.
Oh, that's good. So that's my answer. I guess that's my answer. Yeah,
There
and
you go.
also, if you have all this, I can focus on wannabe. Then I would have some spare time instead of like teaching to high schoolers. I can work on the other book.
There you go. There you go. See, that's smart thinking. It's one of those allocating your resources more than
Yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah,
else. But
yeah, yeah.
but sadly, we need to get down from the dream scenario. We have to get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years. I hope I'm still alive.
That's a good start. It's a very
First,
good
first
start.
goal. First goal. Um, Professionally or like in general in life?
I mean, just whatever you want to list for 5 to 10 years. Like I said, this is where you hope to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It could be both. It could be one or the
Hmm.
other. That's up to you.
Yes, yes, yes. So I hope Wannabe is still running,
Yep.
and I hope that it's big enough to at least have one extra job and not three.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Maybe being in
There
newspapers,
you go.
having more um, collection books. So like I self-publish yearly Wannabe collection
Okay.
books. So, having more of those. Um, and also, I want to develop my brand a little bit.
Okay.
I want to, make stickers, like Wannabe stickers. I want to make, like prints. I want to develop like a little bit of a brand store or something like that. It's really like it's fascinating me right now, but I don't have money to buy a good printer, so
That's fair.
wait for that.
I
Um,
I will go ahead and say, at least for me personally, what I use for like my merch or whatnot, I use a store called Fourth Wall. And
uh-huh.
what they do is it doesn't cost you anything. You upload the images or whatnot that you want to be on that you want on there, and then whenever you're selling like a
Mhm.
certain like piece of merch or whatnot, they take a cut of that to where you can also like get a profit. So
Mhm.
like if I sell a shirt for $25, they'll take like maybe 10, $15, and I get like $10 profit off of it more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's at least
Mhm.
it's at least a step more than anything else. If you really want to, if you feel
Yeah.
confident in wanting to sell merch and selling stickers and
Mhm.
prints or whatnot, it's at least a good step in the right direction. Honestly, obviously, the dream would be to have your own like shop where you get to control everything and you can push out the stuff and materials and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But if you at least want to take
Mhm.
that next step, that's my recommendation.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. Thank you. I'm gonna ask you more questions about that
Oh, absolutely.
after this conversation. Yeah, and yeah, it's more or less what I do for the books. Like they're self-published through Lulu is called. I don't know if you're familiar with, but like so it's on demand printing. So
Okay.
people buy the book on the website and gets delivered to them, and of course the platform takes part of the money. But yeah, so developing a brand, and yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. So like having Wannabe grow and also professionally grow, yeah,
Well, there you go.
in an
Hey,
upper direction.
yeah, upward direction more than anything else.
Upward.
Even if it's a diagonal upward, like you're up to the right or up to the
Yeah,
left in one
I'll
form of
take
fashion,
it.
yeah, you'll take it. You'll take it. As we start to wind down the interview, Luca, I just got one last question I want to ask you. I feel like you've already illustrated this a little bit more at one point in the conversation, but obviously you are deeply invested in art. Again, this is something that you've wanted to be a part of since you were 3 years old. Falling in love with Peanuts comics more than anything else. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Well, again, it's very important. Like circling back to what we were talking about before, I do think that art is this unique form of communication that is unique in the sense that is able to bring up emotions and feelings and moods that we wouldn't be able to bring up otherwise without art. So art is the only outlet we have to talk and discuss and experience in a more community way these things. And without art, we don't have that. And so we would be very drab, a drab humanity. I think I'm not it's gonna sound so pretentious, but so during my literary studies, there's this critic around World War II called Adorno, I think we would say in English.
Okay.
And he stated that the art, uh, especially literature, after the horrors of World War II is dead. So we cannot produce art anymore because we destroyed humanity essentially, and art is human, and so after killing humanity, we cannot do art anymore. But I think that's quite the opposite, right? So the darker the times, the more the need there is for this communication to like to express these things we have inside of us that we don't know how to express otherwise. So the darker the times, the harder the times, the more art we need, the more communication we need. And so yeah, art is very, very important to the world, I believe.
That is, I, for a moment very grim when it came to the World War II stuff, but I honestly understand where you were going with it. Like no, that's extremely valid. Given how horrible of a situation World War II was, especially for those in the trenches, and the fact that some of them were even
Hmm.
like we have killed humanity. There is no like how can we communicate human emotion when humans are gone essentially? But to see it
Yeah.
actually be a way for us to communicate and let people better understand people's situations more than anything else. Just that entire description or whatnot, I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Um,
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Luca, that is all the questions that I have for you. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast.
Yes.
I do what I want. Look, Luca, like I said from the very start of this conversation, ever since I was first introduced to your stuff, once again, thanks to D, thank you once again. But ever since I was first introduced,
Heidi.
hi D, ever since I was first introduced to your stuff in the first place, I could not get enough of it. Again, just reading Wannabe and being instantly connected to these characters in one form or fashion, and just loving the fun adventures, but also like the very relatable, very down to earth moments that you have with these characters, like it's a strip that I'm so glad that people like D have been able to get more eyes on it, and sincerely, like I hope that more eyes do get on it, and I hope that more people relate to it and are able to enjoy it as much, if not more, than I have. Getting the chance to sit down and talk with you right now, and even like leading up to it, doing the research for you, like I was very amazed and impressed with what you have to put out there because I could tell that you have a true love and passion for these arts and these fields, and I'm so happy that someone not only has that passion, but is doing everything in their power to express it because you are doing a fantastic job doing that, sincerely. Like, it makes me excited for whatever you're going to be doing next, whether it is a chance to do more with Wannabe or whether it's, the graphic novel, or hey, maybe you're going to do a follow up to the Charles Schulz book for all I know. Like, whatever that next step may be, like, I'm going to be excited for it. I'm going to be like, firmly planted, ready to read whatever you have to put forth because I know you're gonna do a fantastic job with it every single time, and I cannot wait. I genuinely cannot wait one way or another how things are gonna go for you because I know it's gonna be incredible and outstanding, and I cannot wait. So the long and the short of it, Luca, is thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there because especially in the field that you're going with when it comes to comic strips, it's not the easiest form in order to get your name out there. It's not the easiest to really express yourself in this field, and you're doing a fantastic job doing that. And I sincerely hope that more people, hundreds, maybe even thousands of more people, get a chance to see that and love it as much, if not more, than I do. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I am blushing a little bit. This is so nice.
look,
So
look,
nice. Wow.
look,
Wow. Oh, thank you so much.
I speak nothing from the truth. I mean, I've had you for like what, a good hour and a half at this point, hour 45, however long we've been talking. Why would I lie to you at this point? You know.
Yeah, yeah, you went too far now. You're in too deep. You're in too deep. You cannot.
Now, if people want to know why I have been gushing about Wannabe or just the stuff you're doing in general, go ahead and plug your stuff for the people at home. Where can people find more about you and what you've got going on?
Oh, you can find me everywhere. Please stalk me. No, I'm kidding. Just something Mackenzie would say.
Right?
You can find me on the socials, the social media. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, or whatever you call it now.
I still call it. I'm always gonna call it Twitter, so don't worry.
Right, yeah, because we're the resistance.
Yep, exactly.
On Twitter, I was on Blue Sky and I planned to go back on it, but I had too much going on. But I will be back on Blue Sky if you prefer that. I will be on uh, Comics Kingdom, so the King features webcomic app, and I have a Patreon. Uh, but yeah, just I'm here. I'm very available.
Well, I'll be sure to have all those links and then some in the description below. Especially like for example, I believe I'm gonna go ahead and put your website as well because that's the easy way.
Oh yes,
That's the easy way to both find some of the strips that we talked about, but also like some of the books that we mentioned. You have links up there to where people can go to it and they can purchase the books, have it for
yes.
themselves, and enjoy it and love it as much, if not more, than I've been talking about it throughout. Um,
Yeah.
so, do you
Thank you
have?
so much.
No,
Yes.
no, absolutely. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Um. Oh gosh. Apparently not. No, I'm really grateful of this beautiful interview and this chit chat we had.
Absolutely.
No, I think it's nice to have people like you caring about art and what us cartoonists in this case do, and appreciate it what we do, and it really means a lot. Like again, talking about the comments and the reviews, the things is really, really nice when we get approached with kindness and love
Oh
and
yeah.
praises. And because it really, like it sounds silly, but it really makes us going. And I talk for everybody else, and maybe I shouldn't, but I think it's, it keeps us going. So thank you so much for being one of these people who do that and who does it in such a great level, with your
Well,
podcast.
Well, I genuinely
Yes.
do appreciate the kind words. Kind of like what I said earlier, when it comes to social media in general, there's a lot of negativity out there in the world. I want to bring forth just that little bit of kindness and positivity, especially like you said, for cartoonists, because, especially for what you guys are doing, sometimes people don't even know anything about the cartoonist behind it. They just see the comic strip, have a little chuckle, and then move on with their life more than anything else. I mean, I bet there's some people that probably didn't even know Charles Schulz like name before we even mentioned this in the podcast. I mean, I'd like to hope that there's some, because he's one of, again, the pillars of American comic strips more than anything else. But
Yeah,
you
you
know,
have an educated audience.
yeah, yes, there you go. I will say that I think my audience is a lot more appreciative of the arts than the general audience out there, in one form or fashion. But no, the long and short, thank you for the kind words. Seriously, they genuinely do me a lot. I really do appreciate it. With that, all I have left to say is, for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Oh, yeah, please do. I'm hungry.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, pick me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Like I said, basically throughout the conversation, this was an absolute fun chat more than anything else. I mean, you could definitely hear the multiple times that we laughed throughout. No, in all seriousness, I'm so glad I got this conversation. And Luca, if you've gotten up to this point, sincerely, thank you for taking the time to do this. I could tell before our conversation, but especially with our conversation, the amount of love and dedication that you've put into this craft. Like, you deserve everything that comes your way and then some, because you are a phenomenal artist, a wonderful storyteller, and just a fun person to chat with more than anything. It's guests like today's guests, like Luca, that again makes me feel lucky that I get a chance to do what I love and talk to the incredible people that I have been able to. I never take this thing for granted. I genuinely don't. I mean, you guys have heard me multiple times talk about how blessed I am to even have this opportunity in the first place. That's why it kind of sucks, but also why it's kind of needed that this is probably going to be the last episode of 2025. Just because I need a break, people. I've got so much that I have been juggling, and I just, with the holidays coming up, I just need a chance to step back and breathe, because I have been running myself into the ground with everything that I'm doing, and unfortunately the podcast is the thing I have the most control over when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, I said maybe the last episode of the year because I'll be 100% with you guys. I am hoping to get a very specific guest that I can get for a Christmas episode. If I can't secure that guest, then on Christmas you're going to get some sort of bonus content. What that may be, I don't know yet. I'm going to work to that point. But I mean it when I say that, after today's episode, there won't be at least weekly episodes until February. of 2026. I got a couple trips that I'm planning, being around with some friends, maybe some work stuff could be going on, and maybe some stuff to where I can retool aspects of the podcast. There's a thing or two that I've had in the works that maybe I can bring to life in one form or fashion. But regardless, just know that it's just a little bit of a break. It's not a full-on stop. I've said it before, and I've said it a million times again. I love this podcast too much to stop it. I'm having such a good time, and this is one of the few things that helps me go on from a day-to-day at times. And it's one of the things that I have the most pride and joy in, because it's the thing that I have the most control over when it comes to everything else in my life. I just need to step back and breathe. I just need that more than anything else. So I'm sorry if you were expecting, new episodes all the way to the end of the year, but again, maybe a Christmas episode. There'll be something on Christmas, but past that, we'll pick things back up in February. I don't know if we'll start before Indie Animation Day. We're definitely gonna have an Indie Animation Day episode in February because that's when the next one is. But yeah, no, I just want a chance to be able to recharge with everything that I've been jumbling, because, look, let's be honest with ourselves, this has been a hell of a year. 2025 has sucked. But I promise you guys, it will get better in one form or fashion. And I hope that whenever I do come back, I'll come back better than ever. And I hope you guys will be able to stick with me. But until I do get back, just remember what I always tell you guys. No matter what, whether it be today or every day, make sure you show that love and support to the incredible people in this community. They all deserve it, especially with how much they've dedicated themselves to this. Whether they're people that make some incredible art, or people that are starting to get their foot in the door when it comes to art, or even people that don't do art but just love what people are doing, love the craft of it, and show that love and appreciation. Show that love to everyone, because we all deserve it, especially these days. So until 2026, you guys please be good to yourselves, no matter what, and keep creating incredible stuff.